Committees of Safety, Education Committee, sponsored by National Liberty Alliance. National Liberty Alliance is a national organization whose only purpose is to assist the grassroots to develop a necessary county committee of safety in order to preserve and defend our republic. NLA's policy is a hands-off policy in order to encourage a free and independent grassroots county committee of safety. Any interference from a national or state organization threatens their independence. Therefore, NLA will never interfere with county committees of safety's businesses. NLA will always be available to facilitate an education, organization, assistance in finding answers and solutions when requested, and certified jury administrators. And through your county committees of safety correspondence chairman, share these answers and solutions with other county committees of safety. Duty of the Educational Committee. This committee is responsible for encouraging and assisting members in their education and is responsible for visiting school boards within their counties, elementary to high school, requiring a proper education for our children, including civics, constitutional studies, biblical principles, real American history, government by consent, and court access and the common law, and that anything that corrupts the morals of our children must cease. NLA will provide a successful protocol to force their obedience. This committee should visit colleges in their counties to present to the students government by consent via committees of safety and their duty as citizens to exercise this unalienable right and to respond when called for jury duty. We should also educate them to be free and independent and fully informed juries. NLA will produce educational PowerPoints and videos for this purpose. Invite them to participate with the County Committee of Safety and to take free courses at nationallibertyalliance.org. This committee should send out invitations to the community to invite them to educational meetings on the science of government by consent. NLA will produce educational PowerPoints and videos for this purpose. An enlightened citizenry is indispensable for the proper functioning of a republic. Self-government is not possible unless the citizens are educated sufficiently to enable them to exercise oversight. It is therefore imperative that the nation see to it that a suitable education be provided for all its citizens. Thomas Jefferson. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives. James Madison. If ever a time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, our country will be in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruins. Samuel Adams. The Education Committee. This committee has a chairman and a co-chairman, and all members who would like to join this committee. The following protocol will bring in many new members. This committee is responsible for searching out and listing all school districts within their respective counties. After listing all said school districts, this committee is responsible for visiting real property office located in your county office building, whereas said office can supply mailing addresses of all residents within each school district on a CD or a thumb drive for printing out directly onto the following proposed postcard. This committee is to then research their scheduled board meetings and plan to meet with each school district to bring them back under the will of we the people. This committee is to notify the General Committee Chairman to plan for this meeting with the public and is to contact the people within their respective school districts and invite them to the next General Committee meetings to discuss the problems and the will of the people concerning their children's education. At that general meeting, a speaker will be selected and demands will be decided on to address the board. The sheriff is to be notified of the need of his presence or one of his deputies in order to serve a writ quo wanto should the board ignore the people's will. A writ quo wanto will require obedience within 3 days or forfeit their political seat, and that seat can be claimed by anyone until the next election. More information concerning this writ quo wanto lawful procedures can be found at nationallibertyalliance.org/handbooks and at NLA's Monday night open forum. For instructions to join us, go to nationallibertyalliance.org. Using Dutchess County, New York as an example for searching a list of schools within the districts of your county and your state. Dutchess County Public Schools educate over 46,000 students and employ over 3,000 teachers in grades K through 12. These schools are exceptionally strong. Expenditures per student are among the highest in the state. There are 38 private parochial schools offering additional choices. The list below contains contact information for each Dutchess County school district. What you see in red here is only a proportion of these districts that are located in Dutchess County. So there are certain areas within Dutchess County that are actually close by, of course, entering into another county for the purpose of the school. But you may have to go to those other counties in order that are next door that these schools are partially located in order to get the proper list of all the people within a particular school district. So there are 16 of them here altogether, at least in Dutchess County. Okay, the U.S. Postal Service approved postcard is a 4-inch by 6-inch. These postcards can be produced and printed with the respective mailing addresses using MS Word or can be run off with addresses at Staples or Office Max. We suggest getting a mailing permit for reducing the mailing costs. Obviously, the front should have the Committee of Safety's address, and on the left, the permit number, and then, of course, the name, the address, and the city and state and zip of the information for the people that will be receiving this within a particular school district. And on the bottom, we do have a note that says this is an important message concerning our children's education. The message side of the postcard, this is an important message concerning our children's education on the top. Dear recipient, your County Committee of Safety, which word your should have obviously be Dutchess County or Ulster County, Orange County, whatever county it is you're in your state. We'll be holding a meeting at, you give the address of wherever you're holding your meetings at and the date and the time, for the purpose to discuss the problems and the solution to our children's education, where we will choose a speaker and attend the next school board meeting at, and you give the address. That information, of course, you have to get from the school districts. Someone will have to make the phone calls and find out when the next board meetings are and work all of those details out and try to get to all of your school districts, hopefully within a year. So you want to give the full address and the date and time of that location, and to require their obedience to our rights of redress of grievances secured by Amendment 1 of our Bill of Rights. To learn more about the County Committee of Safety, you can go to nationallibertyalliance.org and watch the video, Government by Consent. Thank you for your time and consideration, and then the signature of the chairperson. We are a Christian nation under biblical law. The Declaration of Independence was a covenant with God in that we would live under His law and thereby receive His blessings of liberty. And that includes everybody, both believers and non-believers. Therefore, we must teach every child His precepts through the gospel. And for that reason, the Bible must be returned to our schools, as was the will of our founding fathers, when in 1789 Congress and President George Washington passed and signed into law the United States Annotated Code, Article 3, which states, "Religion, morality, and knowledge, being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged." George Washington said, "It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor." Benjamin Rush, signer of the Declaration of Independence, said, "The great enemy of salvation of man, in my opinion, never invented a more effective means of limiting Christianity from the world than by persuading mankind that it was improper to read the Bible at schools." Clearly, our founding fathers who wrote the First Amendment believed that the First Amendment was not violated by prayer and the Bible in school, in Congress, and in public life. Congress's first act in 1789 was the United States Annotated Code, which constitutionally protected that Bible was to be taught in American schools, and it is still the common law today. Our founders were clear when they codified, saying, "The Bible shall forever be encouraged in school." The United States, the new Israel. Our founding fathers used biblical metaphors and word pictures to describe the new land. On January 4, 1776, the Continental Congress instructed Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams to design a seal for the United States. Jefferson was more ambitious and proposed designs for both sides of the seal. Jefferson wanted an illustration of the Israelites' exodus out of slavery and bondage from Egypt for the front of his seal. Jefferson had a disdain for the institution of slavery. In Virginia, the emancipation of slaves was illegal, and he refused to sell his slaves. Therefore, Jefferson fought unsuccessfully to change the repugnant law in Virginia, twice as a legislator and once as a governor. In his draft of the Declaration of Independence submitted to the Continental Congress, he listed one of the crimes of the king as forcing the institution of slavery on the colonies in America. In this draft, he described slavery as a cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred right of life and liberty. For the backside of the seal, Jefferson proposed an illustration of Heinsius and Horsa, 5th century Saxon warriors from Germany. They came to England as mercenaries to help the British tribe defend themselves against the rival tribes of the Picts and the Scots. Franklin had a similar idea to Jefferson and wanted to illustrate a scene from the Exodus of the Israelites. The seal would show Benjamin Franklin's design portraying Moses parting the Red Sea with Pharaoh and his chariots being overwhelmed by the waters, with the motto, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." Thomas Jefferson became so enamored with the motto, he incorporated it for his own personal seal design. One nation under God with liberty and justice for all. God warned us in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Let us therefore embrace and respond to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, where God said, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sins, and will heal their land." Or if we reject God as king, he warned us in 1 Samuel chapter 8, saying in an allegory, "This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint his captains over thousands, and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and your vineyards, and give it to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your manservants and your maidservants and your goodliest men, young men, and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Shall we continue being reigned over by Leviathan, the prince of this world? Or will we come to the knowledge of the truth and by the mercy of God, motivated by honor and mercy, and a desire to restore justice as king of our courts? Such was the driving force of our founding fathers. And the Father of justice is God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Psalms chapter 50, verse 15. Noah Webster, colonial attorney and schoolmaster. Noah Webster, the colonial attorney and schoolmaster who wrote in 1828 American Dictionary of the English Language, is called the father of American education. His scholarship set the standards in the new nation for many generations. While reading for the law, he taught school and tutored youth for entrance into college. Later, he waged a long battle to see the U.S. Constitution ratified in all new states. Webster founded Amherst College and fought for universal education in the nation. More than any other of his day, he understood the power of the words and the consequences of ideas. At the age of 50, Webster tackled the writing of the first American dictionary, a task that required the mastery of 26 languages. He wanted to provide the new nation with her own dictionary. He understood that the words are the building blocks of ideas. The colonies had fought 8 years to win independence from England in order to be self-governing under God. Webster believed it was important to provide definitions that communicated the worldview of the U.S. Constitution and its underlying Christian principles of liberty and civil governance. In addition to researching the root meaning of words, he also researched words in the Hebrew and Greek lexicons and defined them according to how they were used in Scripture. Some of his entries have as many as 20 definitions based on the fine nuances of meanings found in the Bible. Webster's 1828 is the only dictionary in the world that includes biblical meanings of words. One of the most important tools utilized by those who have sought to take our freedom and our country from us is to control the public education. By these means, they were able to remove aspects of our history, which would have enabled us to both perceive and deal with the problems of today's long before now. The Bible in School. Noah Webster, the father of American scholarship and education, said, "In my view, the Christian religion is the most important and one of the first things in which all children under a free government ought to be instructed. No truth is more evident to my mind than that the Christian religion must be the basis of any government intended to secure the rights and privileges of a free people. Education is useless without the Bible. When you become entitled to exercise the right of voting for public offices, let it be impressed on your mind that God commanded you to choose for rulers just men who will rule in the fear of God. The preservation of our government depends on the faithful discharge of this duty. If the citizens neglect their duty and place unprincipled men in office, the government will soon be corrupted. Laws will be made not for the public good so much as for selfish or local purposes. Corrupt or incompetent men will be appointed to execute the laws. The public revenues will be squandered on unworthy men, and the rights of the citizens will be violated or disregarded. If our government fails to secure public prosperity and happiness, it must be because the citizens neglected the divine commands and elected bad men to make the administrators the laws. Christianity exalts the intellect and perfects the human character. The sublime views of God and his works, which the scriptures exhibit, have a wonderful effect in strengthening the intellect and expanding its powers. Equally effectual are the scriptures in refining our ideas by representations of purity and holiness of God. The more we know of God, the more just will be our concepts of what is ennobling in our own conduct, and every step we take in imitation of his perfections is an advance and elevation of character. This purity of mind and this elevation and expansion of intellect are the beginning of that ever-increasing holiness and that boundless enlargement of knowledge, which are a complete the character and the felicity of the children of God in another world. The Bible in school. The Bible teaches us how to train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Proverbs 22, verse 6. It teaches children to be virtuous, temperate, confident, diligent, godly, patient, brotherly kindness, and charitable. If these things be in our children and abound, they shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of nature's God and his expectation of them. While it is constitutional for public schools to teach children about religion, it is not to use public schools to advance particular religious beliefs. The school's approach to religion is academic, not devotional. The schools should strive for students' awareness of religions, but should not press for the students' acceptance of any religion. Schools should avoid the use of instructional materials and lessons that are for devotional nature, such as those used in Sunday school. The curriculum should be scrupulous in not showing favoritism for one version of religious interpretation of the Bible over another, whether Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, or other. Schools should sponsor the study about religion, not sponsor the practice of religion, and not promote or denigrate any religion. While teachers are completely free to have deeply felt religious beliefs, it is not appropriate for them to use the classroom to advocate their religious beliefs in public school children. Bible courses should give students a better understanding of the world in which they live and of the role that religion plays in people's lives. Ultimately, it should be remembered that the promotion of religion, faith, is the fundamental responsibility of parents, families, and religious communities, not legislators, government offices, or public schools. Psalm 33, verse 10. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. The counsel of the Lord standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he had chosen for his own inheritance. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. Isaiah 54, verse 13. 2 Chronicles chapter 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land.